Right, you're going to do a short review of long division and synthetic division of polynomials. So these will be two examples we did in class. Um, so this first example we want to divide x squared plus 6x plus 9, and we want to divide that by x plus 3. And we'll go ahead and set up our division. X plus 3 is going to go on the outside. That's our divisor, what we're dividing by. The dividend, which is the x squared plus 6x plus 9, that's going to go in the interior of the division. And it works fairly similar to long division. I'm going to multiply the x here. I'm going to multiply x by something so that I get an x squared, because I'm going to subtract down like I do with long division. Okay? So we're going to say x times x is going to give you x squared, and then I also need to multiply the 3 by the x. So 3 times x is going to give me a 6x. I'm sorry, not a 6x. Let's go back and highlight this stuff. Oops. All right. And I have to fill this in. All right. So it's going to be x squared plus 3x. So x times x is x squared, 3 times x is 3x, and then we're going to subtract the x squared and the x squared. And I subtract is going to be 0. 6x minus 3x is 3x, and then we're going to bring down the 9. So just like in long division, you'll bring down the next term. So bring down the 9. Now we want to make a 3x from an x, so we need to multiply by 3. So we're going to say plus 3. X times 3 is 3x, and then 3 times 3 is 9. And we'll go ahead and subtract, and we get a remainder of 0. So our answer, the x plus 3, that's called our quotient. And then our remainder is what we end up with, the dividend and the divisor. Those are the four pieces here of a division problem. Okay. Now we're going to talk about kind of a shortcut that will work for linears. Linears will be in the form x plus or x minus. If you got an x squared and an x cubed and you're trying to divide with that, synthetic division will not work. And synthetic division will have to be in the form x plus or x minus. And it can be done, but it's not advisable to do things like 2x plus 3. Synthetic division is a little bit harder to do with that. So it has to be the x plus. So the coefficient on the x needs to be a 1. All right, so for synthetic division, the form needs to be x minus c of the divisor. Okay, so we can rewrite the x plus 3. So we're going to do that same problem over here on the left. We're going to do the same problem using synthetic division. So x plus 3 can be written as x minus negative 3. Okay, so the way synthetic division works is this is my number c. Your c goes right here. And then I'm going to take the coefficients of my dividend. So the coefficients of my dividend are 1, 6, and 9. So the 1, 6, and 9 are going to go in the inside here. 1, 6, and 9. Okay. Oops. Now the way this works is you always bring the first one down. So you're going to bring the 1 down. Then I'm going to take 1 and I'm going to multiply it by the negative 3 here. Whatever that number is, you're going to multiply it. So negative 3 times 1 is going to give me negative 3. I'm going to write that down there. And then I'm going to add these two. 6 plus negative 3 is 3. Okay, and then we're going to repeat the process. Now I'm going to do negative 3 times 3. And I'm going to write it down here. And then I'm going to add. That gives me negative 9. And when we add, 9 and negative 9 makes 0. And so our remainder is 0. Okay, so it's going to give us the same answer, so it goes remainder, C for constant, and then x, and then maybe x squared, and then maybe x cubed, depending on how many numbers you have left over. So that's the way it goes, and we end up getting the same quotient. Okay, so our remainder was 0. Our quotient was the x plus 3. Okay, so synthetic division, once you get the hang of it, is a lot faster than long division. So let's do one more example of both long division and synthetic division. Alright, so we're going to do x squared minus 64, and we're going to divide that by x plus 8. So x plus 8 is our divisor, and now we have to be careful. In order for this to work correctly, I have to have things in descending order, and I need a representative of each power of x. So we start with an x squared, and then I don't have an x term. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a placeholder in there. We're going to call it 0x. It doesn't change anything, but we need that placeholder. Otherwise, the division doesn't work out very nicely, and you're going to most likely make a mistake. So x plus 8 on the outside, x squared plus, we need this placeholder right here. Otherwise, things get all messed up. So we need that placeholder there. We're going to need it for synthetic division too. We need a representative of x squared and x, and then the constant. Okay. And we're going to play the same game. X times x is going to give me an x squared. That's what's going to happen there. So x times x is x squared. 8 times x, and this is where we really need that placeholder, and so I can put it right here. So 8 times x is 8x. And then just like with regular long division, we're going to subtract x squared minus x squared, 0. 0 minus 8 is going to be negative 8. So we're going to get a negative 8x, and then bring down your negative 64. Okay. And x times negative 8 is going to give me negative 8x. So that's what's going to happen here. Okay, negative 8x. Oops. We went a little too far here. Let's go back. Okay, and then 8 times negative 8 is going to give me a negative 64, so that's what's going to happen. And then we'll go ahead and subtract. Negative 8 minus negative 8 is 0. Negative 64 minus negative 64 is 0. So the remainder is 0, and our quotient is x minus 8. Sometimes we'll have a remainder, and that's all right, but a lot of times we're going to have a remainder that's 0, and sometimes we'll have a remainder that's not 0, and that'll be important later on. Right now we're just focusing on using long division and synthetic division. Okay, so for this synthetic division, x plus 8 can be written as x minus negative 8. The negative 8 will go on the outside, and then I'm going to take the coefficients 1, and then we need a placeholder for the x, so we're going to put a 0 there, and then we're going to place in the negative 64. Alright, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring down the 1. We're going to bring down that 1. And then I'm going to do negative 8 times 1 is going to give me negative 8. And then I'm going to add 0 and negative 8 to give me negative 8. And I'm going to do negative 8 times negative 8. And that's going to give me 64. Oops. What happened to the 4? We better put it back in. There we go, it gives us 64. Our remainder is 0, so it always goes remainder, constant, x term, x squared, x cubed, depending on how far we need to go with the synthetic division. Okay, and we do in fact get x minus 8 as our quotient.